Welcome to the Premier Betting Show. I am your host, as always, Tycoon, and right next to me is the talent Fox. How are you tonight, Fox?
It's been a long day, but I've been looking forward to doing this, so I am good now.
Fantastic. And as am I, doing well. I'm hoping that news that we share tonight, being recorded on Thursday evening, hasn't changed by the time we release on Friday morning again. Hopefully things stay a little bit more settled this time around, because we've had 2 weeks in a row where that's happened. So let's not let this happen third time. The news is ever changing. Just stay current.
Yeah, seriously. Check before you go.
Well, we do officially have our first week of bet in the books. So we don't really have to discuss overall record because it is only the week one record. So shall we discuss that briefly, huh? It was a good week, so maybe we should share. All right. Well, we were 6-2 plus 3.17 units. Now, we do share those on our Discord. We did not specifically or get too specific into the unit sizes of the bets on the show last week, so we're going to try to do a better job of it this week. We'll make sure that we point those out. But yeah, successful first week, 75% hit rate. We, up 3 units, nothing to be mad about there. Pretty thrilled.
No, and coming off last season, we're I think up 17 units now.
You were very strong last season. I'm not going to say we for anything related to last season. That was all you. But yes, you were very consistently strong season long, which is nice. It wasn't, those units weren't buoyed by some spike week parlay, bullshit. It was legitimately slow. Well, I won't say slow, but sure. But I mean, just consistently raising your balance. So, and that's a good lesson to take.
Yes.
All right. Well, do we have any pertinent news that we need to dive into before we get into the matches?
The only real big news would be from your side would be the defender for Arsenal's Timber is out for quite a few months after he went down with a knee injury last week. So that's going to be a bit of a blow, but I don't think it's a gaping hole that's going to be left in the defensive line that they're going to be struggling with, but it does take a little bit of wind out of their sails there.
Certainly. All right. Well, let's jump into the first matchup here. First, we have Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like Forest here. Had a good showing last week, even in a loss, but they hung around. They're even from last season, they're a resilient side, and then they get a Sheffield United team who I don't think is very good, and you get to play at home. Give me the 115 here. I like the money line. I do like the under 2.5. I don't like it, however, at minus 145. So I'd probably stay away from that. But
yeah, that's a lot of juice.
I'm going to hammer home that money line for sure.
Yeah, essentially even, his standard line 110 versus just a great draw for Nottingham at home. Yeah, I'm with you there. I like it. So what are you putting a unit on that? Full unit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not even thinking about it, just putting that one down.
Beautiful. All right, so then we will move on to your boys in Liverpool facing Bournemouth, hosting Bournemouth specifically. So this seems to be a great spot for your club.
Yeah, and they need a bounce back here after, a good solid game last week, but unfortunate to get the draw, even though they should have probably had the chance to put it away. But I took them. I'm not going to get into officiating here, but they did miss a blatant handball that, would have put them on the spot. So I think
it was offside, wasn't it? Or unless I'm thinking of a different play.
Different one.
Okay.
Different one. But they have a little bit more to prove. It wasn't the greatest start. Their attack looked great, but their midfield still needs a little bit to shore up there. Um, but what better way to kind of fix that with a team like Bournemouth? So this one, I mean, your line is way too high to even think about touching these, but I like the both teams not to score here. It's plus money at 105, and last season both games were um, all Liverpool. Bournemouth didn't get the ball in the back of the net, so I expect that to stay here, especially playing at Anfield. That's probably one of my favorite picks. And then the over 3.5 or under. I kind of like this one going over 4, but I can't trust that line. So
It's
I'm
very
going to
hard
pass
in
on that
this
one.
league to count on 4 goals, no matter how good the teams are, because even the shit teams are full of talent. So
Right, exactly. I mean, I can absolutely see this being a 4-0 game, but I probably more likely see it as a 3. So I'll pass on that one unless this is kind of one of the ones that I'll keep an eye on, and if the odds do shift a little bit, I'll maybe think about it. But I like the both not to score here, and that's probably the only one I'm taking.
I think this is going to be our first opposing side bet here. This is one that I have to throw my thoughts in here, and we talked a little bit about this before the show. But I
Yeah,
kind of see the backdoor goal happening here for Bournemouth in this one. I know they're very much outmatched. I know they're very much on the road, but I do think early in the season, Liverpool kind of getting over that draw versus Chelsea, being back in the comfort of home. I could see them mentally not being all the way there if they're up 3-4-0 in the 75th, 80th minute. Um, and I do think Bournemouth will be hungry after being pretty much embarrassed in both matches against Liverpool last year. So
sure.
that's really
I could see
it's
that.
narrative driven, not data driven. I'll be frank,
No, for sure.
and also given the results of last year, it's kind of telling to me that there is the percent juice on the yes side of this bet. So I feel like that
To
tells the
me,
story, and I'm listening.
yeah, to me, it would make more sense if they weren't at home. That's where I'd flip it. But I don't hate it. I can see the logic on taking it, but I'm gonna go with
Purely narrative. So I have to be
yeah,
very clear
exactly.
about that. This particular bet is not a data driven take. This is strictly trying to put myself in the mind of both clubs psychologically.
No, for
But
sure. And sometimes you have to, so it makes sense.
I'm
I
still
like
going
it.
to put my unit there.
Yes, absolutely. Same with mine.
All right. We will move on to Fulham and Brentford.
Yeah.
I got to admit, this is one I don't really have any strong take anywhere in this match,
the,
so I'm going to lean 100% on you for this.
well, and this one's honestly one when I first saw it, it's kind of like gross. But then the more I looked at it, it was like, oh, this actually could be a good game, but just still gross for kind of betting. Um, Fulham has had their number, which is funny because all the matches last season were 3-2. So no matter who won, who lost, Fulham took it
Me too.
2 out of the 3 games. Um, I seeing those scores kind of makes you want to lean the over, but I would still probably lean the under 2.5 here. Um, but after the showing from last week, I honestly see this one being a draw. Like that, if I had to take a bet on this one, that's where I'd go. I'd take the draw plus 235. Both are plus money for money line. Um, I'd probably take the draw here. I don't like one team more than the other, but I think in the end, this is one where if you could stay away from it, I probably would.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have an official pick for this.
No.
We'll lean towards the draw, but nothing for the ledger.
Yes.
All right, so we move to the Wolves, Wolverhampton hosting Brighton. Now, this is one that has been kind of the topic of our conversations today.
Yeah, and honestly, when I saw the lines come out on this, I can't remember what Brighton opened at, and I mean, still only be at -110. They weren't much higher than that, so that kind of surprised me, especially with how well they came out last week. I know it was a little bit of a sluggish start, but then they kind of popped in the second half. Kind of would have expected it to be a little bit higher, but I'll take the 110 all day for that money line.
I'll
The
happily take it. I'm
the
100%
one
with you there.
the one I love is the spread at uh, just 0.5, just one -114. They just have to win by one. That's all it is. And I don't think this is going to be a huge spread to begin with, but you're not drawing. They're winning this one. I think it's probably a 2-1 game. So give me that all day.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Dude, Brighton. And funny enough, the money line was even at even overnight, even money. So there was money coming in on the Wolves throughout yesterday, even into the evening, and then a little bit more money back towards
I
Brighton from today.
I have a feeling
Good level.
it's people seeing how well they looked against Man U and thinking that maybe and they look good. I won't take that away from them at all. But Man U also just looked like crap.
Right. I would say how
So
much of that is menu not looking good.
yeah, and it was a blend of both. But honestly, I think it was more Man U had sloppy play. They just kind of looked disheveled. Um, uh, I do like Wolves, but not with how Brighton came out and played. If Brighton kind of had the same thing where they came out and it was just, just a little bit of laziness, they came out and they took off exactly how they finished last season. So I will take my money and put that back on them still to continue that kind of play.
Love it.
And again,
All
that would
right.
be I'll put a unit down on both of
And
those plays,
yes.
the spread and the money line.
Yep. Yes. Well, too. Yeah, we're very pro Brighton this week. And
Yes.
speaking though of Man U, we'll move on to their match where they're being hosted by the Harry Kane-less Tottenham. Um, I'm still in a wait and see period with Tottenham, and honestly, after Man U's match, kind of with them too. I really,
Yep.
I don't, yeah, I think you're going to
Well, and
say what I'm thinking.
yeah, if I was looking at how both teams played last week, I'm taking. If I have to take somebody, I like Tottenham actually here. Originally, I would have leaned Man U, but kind of going back and seeing how both played, they don't miss Harry Kane. I don't think him being there would have made a difference last week. James Madison stepped up, and he's, I think, they're gonna play from the midfield, and um, if the other pieces start coming together, and they can actually put even more of an attack together, I actually like this Tottenham team this year. Um, I still kind
Yeah,
of
you're
have my
coming
rule
around.
where I don't want to bet on them.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, and it's kind of one of those things that uh, the rest of their stuff, the rest of their odds weren't thrilling in any way. Um, I mean, this is one where I will see the score the next, like the day or that morning of, and it's nothing would surprise me if it was Man U won, Tottenham won, or if they drew. Like it would be none of those would surprise me,
No,
and
not at all.
I I just don't want to put any money down on it. I do like Tottenham, especially being at home, but I'm kind of thinking Man U bounces back here a little bit, but I don't want to lose my money on either one here.
Well, there's a lot of angles that could come to fruition in this particular matchup. So still, yeah, like I said, just stay away. And depending on how quickly Menu maybe is able to rebound, they might be back on the card again sooner rather than later. Like, I'm probably staying away from Tottenham still for at least another 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I want to see how it shapes out. Like it kind of was a little surprising how it looked, but yeah, Man U will probably be back on the card within a week or two. But uh, just the way they opened up, a little weary on them as well. So it's not worth picking either side here.
All right, so we'll move on to the real team in Manchester. Ugh, not just kidding. But we got
Well,
Manchester City hosting Newcastle. Another not prohibitive favorite, but still certainly a strong favorite in City, as they'll be in virtually every match they play this season.
and this one actually kind of surprised me a little bit, and I'm thinking it's because they're home. Um, this this game I think is going to be tight,
I do
and
too.
when I remember seeing this one on the schedule, and this was probably one of the ones that I was looking forward to, like right away, especially with how Newcastle played last week. Um, wasn't thrilled with Man City. I don't know if you saw them in the uh, Super Cup. They didn't look great, and man, I don't know if it's that they missed De Bruyne. Um, they don't look like. I mean, obviously, they're not going to look like they did last year, but I wouldn't say I'm worried about them picking things up, but seeing how they play, and they shut Burnley down, but they're supposed to.
Right. I mean, right.
So now you're getting Newcastle coming off the win they had. I kind of like Newcastle's money line. It's plus 390. I might throw half a unit on that.
I'll say potentially worth a stab, right? That's not.
I
I
think
don't. I
so.
don't hate that.
And I think, Man City kind of put it to them last season, had a 5-0 or a 5-0 win, 2-0 win, and then a 3-3 draw. I think Newcastle's got more to prove, and I think they're going to come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, like we belong here, and I think it's time to get their respect. I think I lean Newcastle's money line. The over 2.5 minus 140. I like that. Might be a little too much juice on it for me, but I
Right.
do like that odds um, of hitting. And then the one that bummed me out was the both to score was at
Right. It was a
I think
135
135.
minus
Yeah.
135 last night.
So if you're able to smash that, congratulations, because now it's
So,
145.
so
And
I would have drank the juice at 135, not at 145.
no, and I remember putting in the thing that I was shocked it was that low.
Right.
I mean,
But
two
check this
two
out.
powerhouses right now.
But those two bets right there, if you take the over and both teams to score, yes, and combine those in a single game parlay, you can get that at minus 105 if you just pair them together. And I would do that,
Oh,
frankly.
I don't hate that at all. No, absolutely. I'd put a
Almost
unit
even
down on
money.
that. Yeah, I'd put money on that one. But yeah, I think I would go Newcastle here for the money line. Uh, and I think this is still your game of the week, regardless of the outcome. So I'm really looking forward
Yes.
to watching this one.
All right, so we'll throw it down half unit on the Newcastle money line, and I'm going to sneak in my unit on the over 2.5, and both teams to score yes
Yes, I do
for
like that
minus
one.
105. But yeah, really bummed. Yeah, the juice rose. I got to stop saying juice. Give them better terms. No, but yeah, even with or with the odds shifting to minus 145, I just can't do that straight. That's just too much.
No.
All right, so we move forward. Aston Villa hosting Everton. This
This
is
is
also
another one.
fairly, notable favorite in Villa.
Yeah, and if their money line comes down a little bit, I would gladly take that. Minus 145 is still too much for me. But I do like the both to score no here. Minus 105. In the 2 of the 3 matches they had last year, Everton didn't score. I pretty much expect that to be the same here. And I think Villa, especially with the result last week, they're going to come out with making sure that they seal a win here. And
I think they'll be
to
highly
me, this is
motivated.
one of the ones that they put a goal in, and I can see them kind of locking it down just to make sure they secure the win, and kind of look more to counter after that, just to make sure, hey, we've solidified what we need. We're locked in. We're good. Everton doesn't score. Everton did not look good. So
And I don't think they're going to score here either. Not on the
no,
road.
and again, this is another one. Villa at home. That pushes the odds in their favor to me.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that Yes is the favorite on this bet, so I will, happily throw a unit at minus 105 for Everton not to score. And if we get a
Yeah, and
0-0 draw, hey, we still win. So great.
exactly. Well, and that was kind of the other thing too. Was I think this one might lean on Villa's play last weekend. So, which never makes sense to me, because you're giving a team that didn't score the prop that they're going to. So I don't understand that coming on Everton's side. Like, to me, the odds should be reversed.
Yes,
But
absolutely. That's
I'm
why
not going to
I'm thrilled to
complain.
take it. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain because I'll take it.
All right, so we'll move forward. Oh
I
no,
was
unless
going to
you
say,
have another thought. Oh,
I also do like the under 2.5 here, minus
okay.
110. I don't think it's a high scoring game. To me, this is a 2-0 win, and that's where we end it.
All right.
So I like that one a lot too.
Are we adding that to the official ledger, or is that just going to stay with both teams to score no?
Let's add it.
All right, so we'll have 2 official picks here, 1 unit on both teams to score no at minus 105, and 1 unit on the under 2.5 at minus 110. And that is for
Make it so.
Aston Villa versus Everton. All right. Now we move forward to West Ham and Chelsea. This is actually, I think, kind of an intriguing matchup.
I don't get this one. And I think it opened with Chelsea at even, or I can't remember if it was 110 or not. But
I'm not sure where it opened, frankly. Yeah.
They were clearly more of the favorite, and this one kind of, I don't know, this kind of makes me stay away from it. I'm intrigued, but like, I saw your notes that you like the draw.
I think
Maybe?
I do. I think
when I
it was
initially
that question mark was very Ron Burgundy-esque. Absolutely.
when I initially saw this, I kind of thought the same thing, especially when they were getting no love to Chelsea, which again kind of surprised me.
Yeah. Usually just fan support alone, I mean, pushes their odds into or it's a less favorable odds. There we go.
And I don't know if they're giving West Ham the pass on letting Bournemouth get back into the game last week, or, I mean, I didn't think Chelsea looked fantastic against Liverpool, but by no means did they look bad.
No, I think taking a draw from Liverpool even at home was a good showing for them. And they were pretty close to winning, if we're being completely honest.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, this one just kind of confused me. I don't really, I mean, you can't really, I can't look at last year because it was Chelsea. last season. So it's like they still won 2 of the 3 games they played. They were all very close. It was either a draw or just a 1-goal lead, you know. My gut would say Chelsea takes it, and they should. But yeah, the more I sit and think about it and look at it, I do like the draw. Um, I like both. I do like both to score, but again, this is kind of a game that just like seeing the odds. Um, I I don't know if it's a West Ham at home kind of feeling that they've got good crowd support. Maybe it's just that's a lot of what factors into this. I,
It could be a significant home edge
I
baked
think
in.
I think I stay away from anything here. Um, this is just one of those games that it's another one that wouldn't surprise me if West Ham won. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a draw. You know,
Right. I think I agree, and actually, I know I agree. Stay away, as you astutely noted on our show sheet. I like the draw with the question mark, and that right there is the tell. If segueing away from the match just for a quick second, key note: be confident in your bets. Don't take things on hunches and leans and just
right?
things that you're not confident in. Don't be willy nilly. Be very studious about your bets. So if you really do have that much doubt, like I do, and I'm saying I kind of like the draw, it just don't fuck around. Just move on. There are
Right,
plenty of other things to bet if you can find something that
right.
you can support and feel confident in. Don't play.
No.
It's your money. Be serious with it.
Well, and it's one of those things that, like, for us uh, on the American side of it all, that half the time you're waking up to look at the scores, and it's one of those ones that I don't want to have picked Chelsea and then it be like West Ham wins because like that's just a gross feeling waking up and like I should have I knew better.
You say
And
exactly. You like I knew it. I freaking knew it, and you
yep,
do not want that.
no,
That is the worst. Because if you can support the logic or data or whatever the reasoning is behind your bet, you can feel a lot better knowing that what there is such a thing as variance. Not everything, even if it should have hit, will hit.
right,
That's just the nature of it. But if you went in
right,
knowing, yeah, you just took kind of a dumb risk. eh,
right.
I
I'd
mean, yeah,
rather
there's
wake up
exceptions for lottery ticket parlays and things like that that going in
exactly
are very low
right.
percentage outcomes, and you're betting very minimal amounts on them. But don't
Well,
go
it's
throwing units at things you don't believe in. That's the
right.
lesson.
Well, it's one of those things too that I would rather wake up and not have put any money down and saw that or that they did draw. Be like, I knew it, because I didn't lose anything,
Yeah,
but I get the satisfaction of knowing, okay, maybe I was onto something, and then I can
yeah,
take that and kind of look at that later. Whereas it sure as hell sucks to wake up and be like, no, I Chelsea's going to take this one, and West Ham wins, and now I've lost money, and
and I'm
it's
an
like,
idiot.
yeah, exactly. Like shit, I should have listened to myself and gone with it. Whereas like I'd rather it just be like the fun thing that says like I knew it. Chelsea was or they're going to draw. It's
Right.
one of those. The same with like the Tottenham and Man U one. Like you see that game finish, Tottenham wins. Like I feel good saying okay, maybe I did lean at Tottenham, but I feel better knowing I didn't put any money on it with the fact that it could draw or Man U would win. So it's exactly that kind of thing that I don't want to just it's not something I want to mess with if I'm not 100% confident saying I know this is how it's going to turn out. And I mean, it's always going to go one way or the other. That's just betting. It's not all going to fall in your favor. But
Right.
like you're saying, if you have even like an inkling of doubt, pass. I don't want anything to do with it. I'd rather save my money and put it on something else, or you know, it's
There's
okay
always
not to
more.
like. Right, it's okay not to like everything. Like there were weeks last year I didn't put bets down at all because I just didn't feel good about it. And you know what? It sucked because some of them 1 week it'd be I probably would have gone like 6 for 6, or all of them, and then the next week I feel the same way, and I would have missed them all.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is what it is. But yeah, if there's not that gut feeling saying no, this is what it's going to be, I don't want it.
Or if you do have the gut feeling that causes you to pause, then
Yeah,
stay.
exactly.
All right. Well, back
Well,
to the
and I think
matches.
that's
Oh no.
kind of what made me like seeing your note in there. I was like, I like Chelsea, and then I see the note, and I'm like, oh, damn it! I think the draw might be right, and then like from there, I still put in like some of the
I'm gonna be
plays
so
that I
pissed
think
when
would
this
be
match
good.
draws, dude. I'm gonna be so mad.
Right, but it'll be one of those things, or it'll be one of those things that it's like 1-1, and then in like the 89th minute, a goal goes in.
Some
Because
ricochet own goal.
it'll be some bullshit goal that it's just like, come on, really? I had this and that's why I'd rather not have anything in it, because you're feeling good for 89 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's just, nope, not today. And I'd rather not feel that than,
Gosh, that was my experience watching a lot of Wrexham matches last season.
yeah.
They're the king of scoring and allowing extra time goals.
Ah,
It's incredible how often it happens with that club. Hopefully, this year's a little different story. Well, probably the
hopefully.
goals for department with Mullen out for a little while, but
Ugh, yeah.
yeah, we're gonna. That's going to be the one club that we're going to stray away from EPL. By the way, on occasional
Yes.
weeks, we are going to work in some Wrexham talk. Why? Because, well, they're just awesome. Number two, we're going to have a largely American audience, and that's going to be possibly the one United Kingdom club that
Yeah.
outside of the EPL that they have heard of. So
Yeah,
it can at
exactly.
least be relatable. And do watch that doc; it's incredible.
Oh, it's
Can't wait for
fantastic.
this
Can't
season.
wait for it to come back. Yep.
I wonder what the ending of this season's going to be on the show.
Hopefully some good news, but I don't think
We already we know the news. It's chronicling the season we get of the show this year is last season's results.
Oh, duh, yeah.
All right, so we've got our final match because Luton Town and Burnley was postponed.
Yeah,
So
I saw a lot of things saying like, thank God. Watch it. I'm excited to watch Burnley, but yeah, I get it. It's one game that if you had
we
to
got to
take
watch
one out of the schedule,
this Championship League matchup.
yeah.
No, but we do have Crystal Palace hosting the wounded but not beaten Arsenal this Sunday. Or, yeah, this is a Sunday match, right? I hope I'm
Yeah.
not wrong.
And I'll let you kick this one off, because this is another one where we agree, but we don't.
So I do think I actually have a healthy respect for Crystal Palace. That is what I want to note here as a biased Arsenal supporter. That said, while I do think it'll be a close, I do think it'll be close. Let's put it that way. I expect a 1 or 2-0 win from Arsenal. That is ultimately where I land. I think that they're going to give them a tough fight, and Arsenal's going to squeak one, possibly a second close goals in there. I don't think this is going to be one that they are going to really control from start to finish by any stretch. So, with that in mind, before we go over the traditional bets, there is one that is a little bit deeper. So make sure you're clicking into games, by the way, when you're in your apps, and see what extra bets are available. You can find some fun little nuggets. And DraftKings in particular offers not only the exact scores, but correct scores, and they call it bands. So think of it as a range of exact scores that can count. So in this case, the correct score would need to be either 1-0 or 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0 Arsenal. If any of those three scores hits, we win. And for this match, it is minus 115. Maybe they get a third goal because they're Arsenal and they're awesome, but I don't think they're getting 4 against Crystal this week, and I don't think Crystal will put one in the net against Arsenal. So with that in mind, I feel pretty comfortable with the 1-2 or 3-0 score, and it does give you slightly better juice than the both teams to score no, which I did like from the outset. So this just takes 5 cents off. Just get a little extra back for your unit. So me personally, I'm throwing 1 unit on that correct band score. Um, and I would also consider, if you're not too comfortable with that, or you think Arsenal can just straight dominate, then just take no and pay the extra 5 cents. And I actually kind of like the under as well. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a 1-0 or 2-0. So there's a lot to like here.
Yeah, I can maybe see this happening. And then the more I thought about it, I actually think this game is a little tougher than they expected. I think this is kind of like it was last weekend. But I agree with what you're saying. I don't dismiss Palace here either. I think this is a 2-1 game.
2-1. All
And
right.
originally I liked the under, but then kind of the more I looked at it and kind of went with it, I actually think it's obviously I'll take the both to score. Yes, at minus 105, but and then the over at over 2.5 is minus 109. I love both. I just love both those odds. I obviously think Arsenal wins here, but like you said, it's not. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I could
No.
see it being a 1-0 game, but I think both sides get it here. I think it's a 2-1 game. And I think it's kind of one of those things that, like we were talking about with the other ones, it'll probably be a 2-0 thing, and then Palace drops one in late.
Could happen
But
at home, but
yeah,
I think
this would be a stay. This one, I'm confident in them, but I can understand staying away from them.
so. With Timber's injury, I mean, that would seem like a reason to kind of lean towards the yes, but my thought is that's going to be really a reason for the group to the whole defensive group to try to tighten up as a whole, and also part of the reason why I think there's not going to be much scoring on the Arsenal end. I think all 11 are going to go in with a little bit more of a defensive strategy for this particular match, because I think Arsenal also has a respect for Palace. I don't think they're going to be overlooking them either. So all leans, and
No,
we
I
have
agree.
different logic to come to the same conclusion of this being a tight match. But I think, yeah, if
Yeah,
they
and
try to go into the turtle defense, essentially, I think
right.
they'll be
Well, and it's
successful.
kind of the same thing with Forest last week. And I mean, Palace, I like the way they looked. Yeah, you got was it Sheffield, so it's like you still looked good, and that's kind of how they were last year. It was kind of up and down, um, but they looked solid to come out and start. Um, and to me, Arsenal's kind of the same team we saw last year and just how they played, where it wasn't necessarily always dominant.
No,
And so I
correct.
kind of have a feeling, and that's where I'm going with my logic on it, is that they're going to be good enough to win, but it's not going to be the we're not going to walk away with it. It's not. I think, and I think it's like Arsenal's still at the top, but I think it's now Palace has stepped up a little bit. So, I any given day they're good enough to beat anybody, whatever. Like I think that's any team,
Yeah.
but I I don't
This-
think they are going to be the better team here, but I do think they get a goal in. Uh,
all
even
right.
with even if he was in, I still think they get a goal, and I think it's going to be, to me, it's either they're the ones who score first and Arsenal responds, or it's Arsenal puts a couple in and then it's Palace getting one close to the end, and that's how it wraps up. But I really think both teams score here, and this is one of the other games that I'm actually like looking forward to watching. Is more the Palace side than the Arsenal side, just to see if they continue to look decent and
I think it's going to
make
be a
Arsenal
tense
work for it.
match.
Yeah, I would
So,
agree.
all right, so we're going to be on opposite sides. So I've got a unit on the correct score bands
Yes.
of 1, 2, or 3-0 in Arsenal's favor, while you are going to put a unit there on
Right.
both teams to score yes. And yeah, I would just take the no to be in direct opposition, but I like saving the juice. And as we already
Yeah.
outlined, the reasons why there's not going to be a lot of scoring in this matchup in all likelihood, at least
No,
not to
I like
four.
it.
So
Yeah, and I do like the bands, but I I just really think that Palace sneaks one in here. Um, but I do like if this was a game you're going to put it on, this I would agree. This is the game you put it on for the bands.
and that's something to be taken closer looks at for other matches in the future. I don't think it's always going to be appropriate, but again,
No, well,
make sure you
and
are
like we
looking
talked about,
yourselves, people, in seeing what's available beyond the common, money line and total bets, things like that. I mean,
sure.
that's where you can really find some of the gems, especially in terms of favorable odds.
Well, and I'm always, up for kind of something that's different, stray away from the norm a little bit, kind of have more fun with what you're doing without like being ridiculous, obviously. But
Sure,
you know,
that's reserved for
um,
Super Bowl props.
exactly. But like that's kind of what one of these is it's more of a, um, like you said, a gym. I want to find something different. You don't always want to do the money lines. You don't always want to do the spreads, and rightfully so, because a lot of these odds are ridiculous, especially
Oh,
in soccer in
yeah.
general.
They get
So to be
destroyed.
able to find
Can't
something
even
like
use them.
this with great odds, still like you're getting a good favor on those. Um, I, I think that is something I'll probably look a little more into as well. And this season, I was kind of like looking to like I see people do card props. I can't get behind those because those are just
No,
so up in the air. Um, Other ones I'll do from time to time are corners, but again, those are ones that can be just so hit or miss. But um,
too much of an element of
if
randomness to those.
yeah, but if I do play them, it's kind of ones that I can get more stats through the back half of the season to kind of see like where the numbers tell me, this does seem legit, these don't. That's where I'll start to like maybe play a few, but um, overall, it's just too hit or miss. You know, it could be, and it's one of those things that if the game script goes sour, it could be one that takes off because all of a sudden the team is just pressing, 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 and
Right.
you can get like three corners like instantly.
Yeah, back to back.
Whereas like
Exactly.
before that,
Missed
you were like, sweet,
headers,
I'm on track
just
to get the under, and all of a sudden it's just gone. So I'd kind of rather go with the sure thing here, and this is why I do like the bands, is that kind of falls more in line of um, what we're already looking at anyways. So it's not like it falls into something unusual for like the research we'll put into it. It's just a
right.
more fun version of some of the stuff.
It's a little bit safer than a single exact score. I mean, obviously, you lose some of the great plus odds that you can get with some of the
Yeah,
exact scores, but to
but
get
it's
a range like this, that's very likely at a near even price is pretty good.
yeah.
All right. So now we're near the end. Uh, but for this week, we've got a lock of the week. What's the lock of the week, Fox?
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
That was for you. Uh, the the lock of the week is I'm taking the Brighton spread 0.5 minus 114. That uh, probably one of the best odds you'll see, especially just the half. Just to me, that's a slam dunk. Give me that all day. I'll gladly take that. Um, Not huge on spreads, but man, this was just too good. And I really think it's just people are giving Wolves the credit of how they played against Man U and not giving Brighton the credit they had. So I really like this one. Let me hammer that one home. I'd probably even think about putting 2 units on this one. Just like that's how confident I feel in it. And of course, that's when they missed. But
Yeah, so I would say keep it at 1 unit for our official purposes. But yeah, we're just trying to know the confidence there. All right,
and
man.
then just recap. I know you have some on the ledger, but like these were my picks that I'm the most confident in. I mean, I like the ones we put in as well after like talking about them, but going through them before, these would be like my 6 that I'm put down or yeah.
So we've got Nottingham Forest money line at -110, Liverpool versus Bournemouth, both teams to score no at +105. Although I like the yes with the juice. Sorry, man. Brighton money line and Brighton spread at -110 and -114, respectively. Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. On the graphic, it shows under 2.5, but we know that reverse course.
Originally I did like the under, but then the more I looked at it, I already admitted it.
So we'll say Crystal Palace versus Arsenal, both teams to score. Yes, is in fact what his pick is meant to be for that game at -105. And then Aston Villa versus Everton, both teams to score no, which I absolutely love myself, -105.
Yeah, blame having too many kids and trying to fulfill your day job stuff to forgetting to swap stuff out there.
No, I totally get it. With life responsibilities, most of my work for this and fantasy football is done after 11 p.m. So
yeah,
usually at the end of some long days, but it's a labor of love. What can you say?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a chance to make money. Count me in.
Absolutely. Well, with you helping guide me, it helps a lot. I mean, I like to sprinkle in my things. And when you directly oppose some of my picks, it makes me creep in doubt. But no, I'm going to have the damn confidence of an obnoxious American.
As you should.
I'm winning,
it's your God-given right. It's just more fun to rub it in my face when I'm wrong.
Hopefully. I mean, I want to rub it in your face when Arsenal wins the league this year. That's really what I want. I mean, this is fun and all, but that supporter blood is really, really where the passion will come out later in the year. Although they'll probably just start hot and break my heart again.
I know how that feels, man.
This happens when you jump on a team when you're, a preteen, when they're just very hot, and then don't do anything for the rest of your life. It's great. It's just fantastic. It's like being a 49ers fan, man. 7 years old, they won the Super Bowl. It was on top of the world. Life couldn't have been better. I watched the Super Bowl tape the following year, probably 100 times, wore that thing out.
Yep.
And then, nothing since. Nothing.
Trust me, man. As a Cowboys fan, Kentucky fan, I get it. Yep, I get it. The glory days are behind us.
Well, that's enough about our painful rambling as suffering fans. But this has been another tremendous episode of the Premier Betting Show. And also, actually, before we sign off, I want to mention as well the Fantasy Boardroom, as you see the sign behind me, recorded episode 2 for the season just last night. We were live. We went over PPR draft strategy. So if you are a fan of American football and play fantasy football, please be sure to go check out the Fantasy Boardroom only on YouTube. I'm super awkward, way worse than I am on this show. So enjoy. All right. And with that, we're signing off. Thanks again for another wonderful evening of betting advice, Fox. And we will catch you next week.
Oh, my pleasure, man. See you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.